Welcome to the Journal Star Sportswriters podcast, Peoria Rivermen edition. Jean-Guy Trudel, head coach of the Rivermen, alongside today with winger Jakob Reichert and athletic trainer Max Finley. And we're going to get down to business, Coach. Speaking of which, you've got some changes. The team has been off for 4 days, giving them a little bit of a break, but you've still been at work. What do you got?
Yeah, first we made a trade with Evansville. We sent Zach Boursois there in Evansville. We had McMartin ready to come back. He did his physical, passed his physical, so he was ready to come back. We had to make a change, bringing in a new defenseman, and things that worked out really well. We actually needed a left-handed shot defenseman, and McMartin came right in, and he's ready to go. So he's coming in. Boursois out, and then of course we have Broads after the game that came in and wanted to go to Europe, and he spoke about it a little bit at the beginning of the year. So I kind of, I didn't know it was coming this year. I knew he wanted to finish his career there and try to, have like he said, I spoke to his dad also when he came in town, and that's what they were mentioning, that, things are not working out as planned in the U.S., so they wanted to kind of go to Europe, and he did great things for us here, Broads. He had, great record, so it's a big loss for us, but it is what it is. We, next man up, I stayed in touch with a few goaltenders while, during the year, and Dylan Kelly was one that I really liked the way I spoke to a few guys about him, and I guess he's a great teammate, great guy, and he knows his role. He's coming in as a second goalie, and the plan we had for Eric Levine at the beginning of the year is kind of come true. The games we wanted to give him, and when and where, and so a lot of change, but it was still nice though. I do this 3 times a year. I try to give guys 3-4 days off to completely, just physically, but mostly mentally, just to get away from the game a little bit. It gets long. You get in the habit of doing the same thing. Yeah, you reset.
The game Saturday was a little bit
It was. I think they were on vacation Friday after the game, but that's okay. We had a good enough start that it's going to happen, games like that, and I'm just happy. The boys needed it. They deserved it, and they got a few days off here.
You played a lot in Europe, of course, and do you know much about playing in Hungary? I mean, what is Brodeur walking into there?
I don't know Hungary. I've been there. I played a tournament with Team Canada there in Budapest, actually, where he's going. So I know a little bit of that place. I didn't know they had pro hockey, but every league in Europe, I mean, every country in Europe have a league somehow. I don't know what the talent level is, but for us, it's just we're happy for him. That's what he wanted to do. He was happy with his decision, and I think he felt a little nervous of coming and tell me, but at the end of the day, he understood that whatever happens in life, for me, friendships I make with those guys are more important than anything else, and I'm happy for him. He wanted to go there. He wanted to have a chance to have a good career there, and he did it the right way. He came to spoke to me, and we had a good conversation. I'm happy for the kid, and I wish him all the best.
Dylan Kelly, just before we came on live here, you signed him, so he's officially with the team now, and a big goaltender, isn't he?
Yeah, you know me. I like my big goalies that don't move too much and do what they're supposed to do, and he's another one. But mostly, I wanted to bring a great teammate. I think we've known over the past few years here. It's really important to me. So, great guy in the locker room, a lot of life, happy. I mean, he wanted to be here. We spoke pretty much weekly since he's been in the Federal League, and he's super excited of coming in. He knows a few guys already, so it's going to make the transition a lot easier for him, and we're excited to have him.
Jakob, boy, you have had an impressive start here in Peoria, and we've talked to Coach Trudel about what you bring to the table, and it's been fun to watch you. You were in the ECHL with Adirondack last year, right? 45 games, I want to say.
Yep.
So how did you come to be in Peoria this year? How did you find your way to us?
It's been a bit of a journey this year, actually. Like you said, I was in Adirondack last year and got traded to Jacksonville. Things didn't work out there, and went to a couple other teams, and was just kind of looking for a spot to play and get some ice. And I actually had an old teammate that played here, and he talked to Coach. And
who's that?
Alex Carrier.
Oh, okay.
Ace, yeah. So I talked to him a little bit, and he kind of directed me in this route, and talked with Coach here, and things sounded good, and made the decision to come here. And it's like you said, it's been a good spot for me.
You're from Langley, BC?
Yeah, I'm from Langley. I live in Kelowna now.
How about your?
That's a great city.
Shout out. Okay.
Yeah.
Your entryway into the game as a kid. How young were you when you started, and who guided you?
I was pretty young. Both my parents were pretty athletic. My dad was into basketball, and my mom is more into the biking and running and triathlon, that kind of stuff. So I always kind of had that athletic background, and they kind of just put me in hockey. Just being in Canada, that's kind of something every kid does. So I want to say I started maybe around 4 or 5, and just been playing the game ever since then.
Outdoor rinks, traditional indoor rinks, backyard. I mean,
mostly traditional rinks.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, it doesn't get really cold enough where I grew up to get outdoor rinks. So there's about one time in my life I can remember skating outside where it got cold enough to actually keep some ice, skate outside. So almost my whole life I've been indoor.
You also have an NHL Hall of Famer in your family tree, great uncle Sweeney Schreiner.
Yep.
And have you read up much about him? Family talk about him?
A little bit of both. Done a little bit of research on my own. Didn't really, realize what it was till I got a little older and kind of, like I said, realized what it was. And I think going to the Hockey Hall of Fame and actually seeing his name there too was something that was pretty cool. And my dad's told me a few stories, but he was gone before I was born.
Well, yeah,
so,
he played back in the 30s and early 40s.
Yeah, New York Americans back when I was a team. So
New York Americans captain, twice with Toronto with the Maple Leafs, Stanley Cup champions.
Yep.
And
I believe too he's the most players for one in a trade ever. Got traded for 5 players.
One.
Yeah, so just interesting stuff like that. It's kind of cool to keep in the family and just talk about it.
Also, the first Russian-born player in NHL history.
Yeah. Most people think it's Alexander McGillney. Usually, when you ask or people say something, it's usually McGillney, but it's actually Sweeney Schreiner.
Sweeney Schreiner. Yeah. Anybody got pictures or memorabilia at home?
Actually, a lot of my aunts and uncles in Ontario. So that's where most of my family lives in Ontario. They have some stuff over there. So when I head back east, we'll just go through it and look at it. But not too much back home.
It was a different era. Mm-hmm. You would have dominated.
I would have for sure dominated. In my own head, I would have.
Sweeney would have looked at you and giggled.
Yes, he would have. Yes, he would have.
When you came to Peoria, and we hear this a lot from players who come here, that working with Coach Trudel tends to help them prepare to go to the next level. What have you found here with your experience so far in Peoria?
One thing I found is getting taught stuff on the ice. I think when you get to pro, coaches kind of just assume that you know how to play the game and you know where you need to be and places like that. I think I've learned some very small details that have made a huge difference. When I went to Fort Wayne a couple weeks ago, I remember something that coaches taught us early in the year is head checks and turning your head and like where the puck's going to be. And I think that really translated, especially as the game gets faster and the guys are better, just knowing what you're going to do before you get the puck. So I think that's something that's really helped me so far this year, and it's kind of turning into a habit that I got now.
You had a call up to Fort Wayne. I think it was 3 games,
yep.
A long weekend, and then came back. And boy, that first period he played last weekend coming back was men against the boys.
Yeah, I think he's been playing like that all year, to be honest with you. He's we're fortunate, like he said, Jacob said, it's Alex Carey actually called me about Jacob, and he's like, Guy's like, you're going to get a great teammate. He's like, what I was when I came to you, he's like, you're going to get a way better player than I was, and you're going to get the same type of teammate, because I still talk in the locker room about Alex, that people just loved him. I mean, he was a great teammate, great guy, would do anything for his teammate, and he was right. When we got Jacob, it was the same thing. He came in and just fit right in, and I think the first conversations we always have together, and I always tell my players, I want to make sure, because it's always hard. Like Jacob played all year in the East Coast last year. He's got goals where he wants to be and what he wants to do. So for a lot of people, it's a letdown when you come down. But I always make sure to have that conversation that when you come in, just be 100% in. And that's going to help you in the long run. And he came in exactly that way. There was no pouting, no nothing. He just came in with a great attitude, wanted to be the hardest worker on the ice every single day. And he's having a lot of success. And we know in our hearts Jacob won't be here that long. I mean, we know he's going to get his chance. And I thought after talking to the coach over there, the first 2 games he played there, I mean, I think he led the team in shots and stuff like that. And I always say that means you're involved. You're in the game, you're involved. And I think it's just a matter of him getting his shot again, and he's going to be all set, because little things like he spoke about, his shoulder check, his understanding what you do before you get the puck, those are the things at the next level you have to have. And once you have it and you do it a little bit faster pace, then you can dominate the next level also. And that's just, a matter of time with him to get that shot, and after that, do it at the next level.
Passes the eye test for sure. I mean, he looks like a next level player.
Oh, he is, and unfortunately, sometimes just things don't work out. Things, happen. Another team, another coach, for some reason, you don't have a good connection. I've been there. I've been through all those situations, so I completely understand. But
you lay your team out throughout the summer and start with a roster, early fall, and it's hard to get off of those guys sometimes.
Correct. And I've done the same thing at the beginning of the year. I told a few guys that were coming in, wanted to give them a chance, understanding they might not be there, but you still take a chance. You give them an opportunity. The same thing with Jacob. He went to Jacksonville. Christie probably had his team, all picked up, and then Jacob was going to man out. And then, but again, if he wouldn't have came here with a great attitude, understanding that if he works every single day, he'll have his shot again and do what he has to do, he wouldn't have the success he's having right now. So it's all on him, putting him the effort, and keep going the same way every single day.
Well, alongside, we've got a guy here today who keeps everybody patched up and going in Rivermen athletic trainer Max Finley. Who's signing your paychecks, though, Max? You're assigned here by an outfit.
Yeah, so I'm actually under contract with Midwest Orthopedic Center to be the full-time athletic trainer for the Peoria Rivermen. So I get all my support from them, and I'm here all the time with the boys and the team, keeping them together. And
you know Coach Trudel. You know him as a coach, don't you?
I know him as a coach. I played for Guy several years ago with the Mustangs. I think it was one of his first years as a coach here in Peoria, so I know how he operates as a coach and as a person, and it's been a pleasure to work with him. I know I'm getting a great guy when I come to work every day.
You said you went to Dunlap High School?
Correct.
Right? Yep. So you're from Central Illinois. Peoria born?
Yep, Peoria born. Been here my whole life, except for the couple of years that I went up to school in Northern Illinois. Came back here and started working at Midwest Orthopedic Center right after graduation.
Why this career? What led you into athletic training?
I've always been a sports guy. I played baseball, played football, played hockey growing up. And I was always looking to stay involved in sports somehow. I knew it wasn't going to be playing professional sports, so I decided to stick around and go into the medical field and become an athletic trainer.
So you got a degree from?
I got my bachelor's at Northern Illinois and got certified as a board-certified athletic trainer in 2017.
Excellent. And you would have grown up in this area, well aware of this team and its history, in the community. I mean, I imagine you went to games as a little kid?
Absolutely. I was at the game when they won the ECHL Kelly Cup Finals. I've been to as many games as I can when I've been in town, so I know the history that the Rivermen organization has and all the great players that have come through here and the guys that are in the NHL right now and in the past. So it's been pretty great to watch that growing up as a kid and to be a part of it now.
Now you're leaving for a while temporarily. Leaving Saturday, going to Italy, right?
Correct.
What are you doing?
So I am a member of the USA Deaf National Hockey Team. I grew up with a hearing loss, and I got introduced to an organization called AHIA, the American Hearing Impaired Hockey Association, probably over 10 years ago. And one of the things they do is they send a men's team to international tournaments. This happens to be the Deaf Olympics, which is similar to any Winter Olympics or Special Olympics. And so I'm on that team. We're going to go over there and play a couple hockey games in Italy.
Where in Italy is it happening?
It's just north of Milan. I'm not sure if I have the pronunciation right, but I believe it's Chiavenna.
Beautiful area. because you're right by the Alps.
'Cause
Yeah,
you spent a lot of
I
time.
lived about 40 minutes from Milan, and all the Alps are there. So the mountains. So he's probably going to have some rinks in the mountains and stuff like that. And
Really close to Switzerland.
yeah, so it's absolutely beautiful area.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How did your deafness happen? You told us off air, what happened.
Yeah,
Walk us
absolutely.
through.
When I was 5 years old, I was diagnosed with meningitis. Spent some time in the hospital, lots of procedures and tests, and I ended up leaving the hospital without any hearing. So I walked in with hearing, walked out without any, and that was kind of the beginning of my journey through this team and where I'm at today.
And you obviously have a passion for the game and for players involved in it who are deaf as well. I mean, what kind of things do they have to overcome?
Lots of things. A lot of coaches, even today, don't necessarily understand how to communicate with players who are hard of hearing or deaf, and so there's that communication barrier there that can limit their opportunities, whether that be playing on certain teams or at a certain level, and then just that barrier. They're trying to get the same chance that everybody else wants. They're the same hockey player. They can do the same things that people that can hear can do, and so they're just kind of waiting for that chance. And all it takes is one coach understanding what's really going on and what the situation really is to give them that chance.
And it's not easy. I'm a culprit of it. When I got Max, my first few years, I just started coaching, so I don't think I was mature enough or experienced enough to understand what he went through with me all the time. So I'm a culprit of it. Also, you just, you coach, and we always say coaching, you want to win all the time. So no matter what, you don't think about different issues that are going around right now or that Max had and stuff like that. And I completely understand where he comes from saying that, because it's, as a coach, as much as you want every player to have tons of success, sometimes maybe you're not attentive enough to those little specific things that Max had, and I was there with him, and I should have. Now that I look back at it, I probably could have been a better coach towards what he had. But man, are we lucky to have him now, hey, Jacob? I mean, he's been phenomenal for our team, and he's. I always say, a good AT when he helps out the equipment manager, and Max is there as many hours as everybody, and he makes sure that not only are they patched up, ready to play and focus, but he makes sure that the locker room is perfect. He makes he's been a blessing in this.
Yeah, those guys are bonded.
Oh, I mean, and it's always scary when you get a new AT, because they don't know that the pro life. It's Max in the summer works for different football teams or whatever, and all he does is AT. But when you become a athletic trainer of a hockey team, a pro hockey team, there's a lot more that comes to it, and he's been the travel, and
there's no days off.
No,
right?
Not at all.
No, and he's been a trooper, and he's been phenomenal. Being a year, you're always, as a coach, you're always skeptical. You're a little scared because we had 2 first-year guys coming in, and I was like, man. So we had our first meeting, and ever since, they've been absolutely phenomenal for a hockey team.
Do you? Those bus trips, I mean, do they wear you down? Are you adjusted to it at this point?
I'm used to the bus trips. Playing junior hockey, playing for the Mustangs here in town. I've been on some pretty long bus trips.
Those weren't bus trips.
Yeah.
Those were short hops.
But actually, we have it easy because
big ones.
Yeah, we have some big ones in the Mustangs, but this year I think we leave at night for the long ones. We sleep through the night, so it's not. Yeah. It's not easy, but it's not as bad as people think. I'd rather do what we do and leave at night, get there in the morning, have a morning skate, than the Mustang bus trip through the day and doing 7 hours through the day and then playing a game.
Jason Christie didn't do that in the ECHL era.
Well, that's why you should travel with us again.
Not ever. Not ever. I got off those buses wanting to fight somebody.
And you had the old Norm with you at the time, right?
Yeah, smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, he had to. So Norm, he was a legend here.
What are you having for breakfast,
Norm?
He'd
be waiting. You know where the stairs are? Yeah. He'd be waiting for every time we'd stop, he'd light it up and have to go right outside. So he was just awesome.
He had the bus trips measured by carton.
Cigarette stop.
It's a 2-carton run. Well, you want to give a shout out to mom and dad? Mom's name, dad's name?
Yeah, mom's Christine, dad's Brad, and Little brother Blake is playing down at Lindenwood right now, so shout out to all them.
Oh, look, we got questions. Given his deafness, did Max look up to or know about Joe Rybar's hearing disability?
It's actually the first time I've seen that name before, so not too familiar with that
Rybar
name.
was a center on that ECHL title.
Okay.
team.
Yep.
Terrific centerman.
Yeah, I was pretty young then, so as far as names and things like that go, I wasn't too familiar with all the players on that team.
Yeah. You got a brother?
Yeah, little brother Blake.
And is he playing or is he? Yeah.
Blake played for the Mustangs also.
Playing for-
and then he played in the NAHL for Springfield, and then he went to Lindenwood this year. Yeah.
Wow.
They have a powerhouse in the ACHA, so he went over there in Lindenwood, and he was a captain of the Mustangs, another really good hockey player.
Fantastic. So now you got a family tree going, the Finley tree.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
perfect. Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Reichert, we ask every player who comes in here this question as we're getting ready to wrap up. So, if you could skate an NHL shift, your one and only tomorrow, who would you have on that line with you?
Ooh,
Who
that's a
are
good
your
question.
two wingers?
Do they have to be playing still, or it could be anyone?
Anybody.
All right, let's go with as my centerman. Let's go with Sweeney Schreiner. Play with old family member, and then maybe on the wing, maybe Wayne Gretzky. You get me the puck. I think those are pretty
It's
safe
not bad.
bet. Yeah.
You know what I love about that answer? I had that question a lot. And I always go back to buddies, great buddies.
Yeah.
Like Nat Dominicelli, nobody knows him. He played 400 NHL game, was not a great player. But for me, I played with Nat for 5 years. If I'd have one more shift to go, I'd want a buddy.
Buddy?
I'd want,
Yeah.
and then on the other side, to me, it'd be another buddy that I played with that I love playing with. And those great names are awesome, but I love that answer. Just you want to play with family, you want to play with buddies.
It would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Obviously,
It'd be
you
great.
never met him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was gone well before you were born.
Did you see the question from Mossbrook?
Who is Max's favorite player on the Philadelphia?
Who are the Flyers again?
Mossbrook representing the mentally ill portion of the
Exactly.
audience today. How about you, Max? I mean, you skated for the Mustangs. If you could get into an NHL game for one shift, who would you want to play with?
Yeah, I honestly, kind of what Jacob said here a second ago, playing with somebody that you know or somebody that you're familiar with, I would say I'd play with Tony Granato. I know him very well. He's been involved with the American Hearing Impaired Hockey Association, kind of the ambassador for them, and Stan Mikita as well. So they're both people
nice
that I
pick
know
there.
pretty well.
Yeah.
I've been a part of that organization even though I've never met Stan, had a huge impact on my life by starting that organization. So that'd be something that would be pretty cool.
Blackhawks fan or Blues?
Blackhawks for sure.
Blackhawks for sure. How about you growing up?
Canucks.
Canucks.
Yeah, hometown team.
Has to be.
Yeah,
Right.
Leafs a little bit just from family and
So
mostly
what you
Canucks.
were, Trevor Linden era or?
West Coast Express era, yeah. So
Okay.
Linden was there kind of the tail end, but
Yep.
Bertuzzi, Morrison,
Naslund. Yeah, yeah.
Jovo, Dan Kluche.
Yeah, I played with his brother.
Yeah.
I played with Sylvain for years,
Okay.
and we won the cup in Houston together. So
Yeah.
Oh, I hated him.
Sylvain.
Yeah.
yeah, he was. I liked him.
Yeah.
He
I
was
know.
awesome.
I bet you did. You got a ring for that.
Yep.
Well, how long are you going to be over in Italy? How long does this last?
I'll be gone for a couple weeks, so I'm getting back right before Christmas.
You ever been overseas?
Yeah, I've actually, on the same team, I've played over in Finland and in Russia as well. So
The area where he's going.
Yep.
Non-hockey related. 3 things you must see when you're over there.
Well, you have to go in the Alps and see either ski villages or stuff like, which is absolutely different than what we have here. It's Colorado would be the closest one to what the Alps can offer. Food is a guaranteed. You have to find a few great Italian restaurants and go with food, and then the best of them all is the wine.
But Italian there is not Italian here, is
What's
it?
that?
Italian food
No,
in Italy
no,
is not
it's
what we
so,
get here.
even wine. I was lucky enough to actually make wine for years with when I was there in the mountains, and it just, they don't put certain chemicals. It's completely different, and you drink it there, it tastes different. Even if it's the same bottle that they bring to North America, it's going to just taste different
It's
over
room
there.
temperature.
Yeah, so the first one for me would be taste as many good wines as you possibly can, get as much good food, and then make sure you actually, it's a stressful time. They want to win. Everybody wants to win, but make sure you take your time to actually visit those great little ski resort towns and stuff like that in the mountains, and have fun. And Milan's got a great, right in the middle of Milan with that church that's as big as a village, and they have a marble street where all the shop. It's absolutely beautiful. So make sure you enjoy and go visit everything there.
Travel agent Jean-Guy Trudel. Looks like Brian Rydell is checking in.
Yeah, Brian, love him.
Offering some congrats to Max. And Justin Jones is asking, have you found a goalie yet? And we talked about that
we
at
talked
the top.
about Dylan Kelly, and a little shout out to Brian. Miss you, big man. Love you, buddy.
All right. We're going to wrap it up. That's it for this week. Journal Star Sportswriters podcast with the Rivermen. For head coach Jean-Guy Trudel and big winger Jakob Reichert.
Oh, let's go with Jakob. I like Jakob.
Like Jakob?
I like Jakob. Yeah,
Jakob Reichert it is. Although
Jakob.
I'll call him whatever he says I have to. And athletic trainer Max Finley, and our producer, engineer, wizard Adam Garrick. I'm Dave Eminian. We'll talk to you next week.